Hey gang, Bronco Carl 92 here. So a couple months ago I did a teardown video of a 48RE Chrysler transmission from a 2006 Dodge 2500 with a Cummins in it. And the transmission's back together, actually for quite a while now. I did video the reassembly and the performance modifications we made to it. And it's just a lot of footage. So I've broken them down into several parts. I'm not sure how many parts yet it's going to be. But if the videos are too long, I find that they're not really interesting to watch. So anyhow, without much more babbling, here's part one. This is the overdrive assembly. And hope you like it. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I was mentioning about the overdrive direct clutch, how it has a very heavy-duty coil spring. There it is. What do you think of that? So I had to disassemble this because this I was replacing the bearings, and this thrust plate over here was actually worn. I've already put the new one on here. And show you the old one over here. It actually has quite a little step on here. So basically what you do is you put it in the press, and this gets pressed down, and we press this all the way in place, and then we can put this snap ring in place to hold that part together. So I'll take you over to the press now and show you how I did that. Okay, so now what we need to do is very carefully press this down far enough so we can get this snap ring in place. Okay. That's that. Okay. On to the next job. Okay, there's also a bearing down inside that the freewheel rides against, or the freewheel hub rides against. And I found the easiest way to get that back in place without dropping the bearing and dropping the rollers all over the place is to take your dummy shaft and place the hub over that. Take your drum and line up the end of the dummy shaft into the bushing in there. Flip this over. And you just rotate it, and then the hub drops in place. Okay, next point I want to mention is the point of the dummy shaft. If you notice, there's a spline here, and then our inner hub has a spline. If they're not lined up, you'll never be able to get the this onto the extension housing or the intermediate shaft. So the dummy shaft, in essence, will line everybody up, and you'll see more about that in a second. Okay, so we're going to do pre-assembly on the direct overdrive. We have our bearing in place, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually lay that inside here on top of the planetary gear, and then I'm going to place this in place. And we're going to start the assembly of the clutch pack. So here is our inner pressure plate. and we're going to follow it by clutches and steels. I have my clutches soaking in ATF plus 4 over here, and what we'll do is we'll just alternate clutch plates and steel plates until we're built. So clutch, steel, these plates are thin, so just make sure you don't have any stuck together. You'll know at the end if you did, because you'll run out. There's I believe there's 10 clutches and 9 steels, and then of course our 2 end plates. And our end plate. So we'll bring this back over to the press. We'll push this down. We'll put our new snap ring in, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay. So next we're going to press down on this assembly here, so we can put the snap ring in for the direct overdrive. Here's our dummy shaft. So you just drop this down. There you go. So you want that all the way down. Take our press tool. And we just want to press it down just far enough so we can get the snap ring into its groove. Okay. And then make sure that the shaft comes out. It does. And we're good. We can finish assembling the overdrive housing now. Okay, so now we want to put the overdrive housing back on top of the overdrive assembly here. I've cleaned it up. I've replaced the output seal already. And now all we have to do is just drop it in place. What I've done is, this is an old piston assembly from a 4L60E. Sometimes old junky transmission parts make good tools. So you actually need to have this kind of standing off the ground here, otherwise the housing won't fit in place. So you basically just lift the housing over, and then spread the snap ring. Oh, we're in place. Just like that. And then we'll put a gasket and a cover over that in a second. Okay, so we're going to install the overdrive clutch now. The first ring we're going to put in is the reaction ring. It's a flat snap ring. And next we're going to put in our modified reaction plate. This was trimmed down by TRE Diesel. And we're going to follow that up with frictions and discs. So we originally had 5 frictions in here. We're going to have 6 now. And finally, our wiring. Okay, one last thing we need to do while we're here is measure the thickness of the shim for the overdrive piston. So what you do is you take a straight edge, you lay it across here, off the across the gasket area, and then you measure down in 4 places to the thrust surface of the direct clutch drum, and you divide the 4 of them together after you add them together, and that comes up with a number, and based off of that number you come up with the spacer thickness. Now to make it easy, what I did was I actually measured the thickness of the straight edge and then set my caliper to 0, just so I could do just a little bit less math. So you set the caliper on top of the straight edge and you push down, and you take the first number, which is 1.34, and then the second number is 1.353. Move over here. .34, .345. So then add the 4 numbers up, and once you add them up, you divide them by 4, like I said, and I came up with 1.345 is the average. They give you a nice little sheet in with your gasket set. And for the measurement I have, I need a shim that's 0.198 to 0.200. Now, I measured the original shim that was in here, and it came up with 0.214, which is just a little thick. So he had gotten that Sonex kit. The Sonex kit basically has 1 thick shim and 3 thin ones. The thick one is 0.175, and then the thin ones are 0.10. So if we add the 2 shims and the thick one, we have 0.195. That's, I think, better than going 205, because our specified thickness should be 0.198 to 0.200. I think a little thin might be a little better than going a little thick. If you go too thick, you might not get the overdrive clutch off, or excuse me, the direct clutch off, and if that happens, you'll get a 3/4 tie-up. So anyway, I'm going to put the selected shims aside, and we'll continue on. Okay, so I hope you liked that video. Stay tuned for the next part. Take care.